What up, my people? ¿Qué pasa, mi gente? Welcome, bienvenidos to another episode, otro episodio de Hoy En Día TV. Happy September. We are already in September. The time is flying by quickly, right? Woo, going by super fast. But I'm going to bring on my amazing co-host. Welcome, Dr. Cece, the actionist, and the amazing author, Nadine Barted. Yes.
Septiembre. Hello.
Okay, ma'am, I see you practicando el español. Okay,
Listen, I got a 98 in high school on my Spanish test, okay?
Ah, pues tenemos que hablar más español entonces.
Gracias.
But just be like, sí.
I love it. Yes. Lovelies, how are you both doing? It's been a whole week since I visually saw you. I mean, we communicate every day, via messenger, but it's different when we see each other again.
I know. It's always good to see you beautiful ladies, my friends, genuinely.
Absolutely. Yes. So talk to me. ¿Cómo estás? Who wants to go first?
Life is lovely.
I was going to say, it's been a busy week, needless to say. And, I've had some trials and tribulations, but yes, nothing that's going to, cause the show to stop. We're going to keep going, keep growing, and keep grinding, right?
That's right.
Good for you. Same here. Good. I'm in my boxing attire. This is I coach and teach boxing empowerment. We do boxing for veterans. And so I've been there with the team out promoting, doing wonderful things, trying to get money, for the nonprofit and things of that nature so that we can provide free gear for our veterans, right? Taking care of our veterans. And so I was able to meet so many wonderful organizations that are out there putting in the work, right, to help veterans with housing, with career employment, with food, with anything you can think of. They're out there doing the work. So it was really phenomenal to meet with the groups today. And so, so I got on the shirt, y'all, just representing for I Coach and Teach Boxing Empowerment. So right here in Raleigh, North Carolina. So if you do want to come out and be a part, it's free, y'all. It's free 0. Okay. No. It's free, so you can come out. And the cool thing with the organization is your family members can come out. So our youngest is 4 and our oldest is 83. So there's a whole range, and we service pretty much any disability that you could possibly imagine. So we work with Parkinson's patients, people with dementia, even people with PTS, anxiety, you name it, right? And just coming there, getting your box on, getting that aggression out. It's a healthy, positive way, right? To get out all of the aggression, helping you mentally and emotionally, but also getting in that physical work, right? So you're getting stronger, you're looking good. And we look good out there, ladies, okay? So you get a t-shirt when you come and everything, and it's really, really amazing. So representing today.
Yes. Guess what? The photo shoot we did with the boxing gloves, that wasn't really for show. You really out here putting it up, huh?
Yes. Indeed. I am your girl getting strong, okay? The 1, 2s, 3, and 6s, all right?
Well, I'm actually curious to know more, so I'm intrigued about this. So if I'm understanding correctly, people who want to partake in boxing, they just go to where you are at this location and they just sign up because it's free, or how does this process work? I just want to know more.
You can just show up. Yeah. So we do it on Wednesdays here in Raleigh, North Carolina. It's at Grit City Boxing. So shout out to them. They've been so gracious to host us to do, the boxing and stuff because, we're a newly formed nonprofit. Been doing the work for years, but now newly formed nonprofit. So they've been really helping us out. So Wednesdays from 2 to 3, you can come out, you can box for an hour with the veterans. And then on Saturdays, right, from 12 to 1, you can come out, you can box as well. We've hosted a school in Durham. They came down with their children. It was a Muslim school. They came down with all their kiddos. It was about maybe 30, 40 kids. It was a lot. And the parents came. And then we just had a kids class, just locally, kids coming out with their parents and boxing. And so we got on the music. The music is clean, like there's no profanity because it's a family, oriented environment and stuff like that. And it's just really good. And you just get your box on and you get pictures, you get video. It's very laid back, and it's amazing. And so we want to encourage you all, if you want to come out and you want to box, come on out. It's free. It's not going to cost you anything but your time. That's it.
Wow. And remind me again, what are the times?
Wednesdays from 2 to 3, and then Saturdays from 12 to 1. Grit City Boxing. Right. Grit City Boxing.
Mm-hmm. So there you go. There you go. Wednesday 2 to 3, Saturdays 12 to 1.
12
Those
to
who
1.
get your boxing on. Yes, that sounds like fun. Actually, I might go over there. So my son isn't quite 3 yet. So how young is young? Like if I wanted to bring him.
Yeah, our youngest is 4. As long, Coach CJ, as long as your child listens, he can work with it. He's prior Marine, so he's very like, but as long as the child listens, we have little kids, they're so cute. The little kids love, they're so cute. And they'll get them out there and have them doing their thing. So yeah, as long as he listens, he's more than welcome to come.
Oh
Yep.
my
So the
gosh,
youngest
I'd
is
love
4.
to see him do it. Your son, Yessie. Oh my gosh, I could just imagine him now. He's so cute.
That'll be so precious. Oh, yes. I would love for him to do that. Yeah, maybe we'll catch you one of these days. We'll come and show up and
Yeah, absolutely. Let me know. We'll come out. We'll make it happen. Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be so much fun.
The last time I was out there, I went with her because Cece, if she's riding a bike, if she's doing anything, she's always gonna drag me with her. So I went with her to the class, and I put up a couple deuces. It was good.
You felt good?
Yeah.
It was good.
And the music is so hype. You know what I'm saying? He likes to play that. I think it's Sierra, the Level Up song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he'll put that on. You're leveling up. You're leveling up. I love it.
Yes, that sounds amazing. All right. Yes. So Nadine, how about you? I know you've been through some things this week. So talk to us.
Yes. So we just finished filming our Dad in the Chair Bowl. Can't wait for that to come out. We work with a great cast with Dream Empire, with Joyce and the team and the squad, all my squad out there. It was pretty dope. So we filmed that this week, and it was great. It was great, catching up with the rest of the cast. They're a great team to work with. And this week I'm shooting some other things as well. So, and I have another project coming up. So I'm pretty busy. I got to keep my mind focused. I don't have time for distractions or bad energy. Sometimes when you pray for God to release them, he listens. And that's what happened to me this week. So I'm just praying for everybody else that's going through their things. Just pray and just read that Psalm 91 to get them out.
That is amazing. Well, good. I'm glad. And I know there was a hot topic of discussion this week regarding what makes a true friend, right? And so in looking deeper into that, everyone has their own perspective, which I understand, right? What makes a true friend because of our upbringings, of how we grew up and was raised. But a true friend is more than just someone you spend time with. There is someone who genuinely cares about you, your well-being, respects you, and stands by you through all the seasons. They can then understanding that we're humans and things are going to happen, right? And so key qualities of a true friend is trust and honesty. So a true friend is someone who you can confide in without fear or betrayal. They're honest with you. Even when it's hard, they're going to keep it 100. Mm-hmm. And they keep your secrets safe. Loyalty, they stick with you, not just in the good times, but also when life gets messy and tough. Loyalty means that they won't turn their back on you because of rumors, disagreements, distances, and just assumptions, shenanigans, what have you, right? That's not what it's about.
Absolutely.
Support without conditions. They encourage your growth, celebrate your wins, and lift you up when you're struggling without expecting someone in return or something in return. Mutual respect. They respect your boundaries, values, and being individual. You're your own unique person. Even if you disagree, they don't belittle or dismiss you. Because disagreements are going to happen. Again, we're all different. We all think differently, and that's okay.
Right.
Genuinely care. They check in on you. Remember the important details about your life and notice when something just feels a little off because they're truly paying attention to you. Acceptance. They accept you for who you are, flaws and all. So while still encouraging you to be the best version of yourself. And then balanced effort. Friendship is a two-way street. A true friend will put in that effort to maintain that connection, not leaving it all just on one person. So remembering that, hey, similar to whatever relationship that you have, whether it be mom, dad, your partner, significant other, what have you, this is a two-way street.
Exactly.
So what are your thoughts about that, both of you?
Well, for me, everything, all you said and the above, if you have, even if you don't have a disagreement with somebody, whatever the case is, if somebody's going through something, or if that other party think that there's something going on, what wouldn't you communicate to the person and not leave them in the dark instead of making excuses or ignoring the person? The other party is not going to know if there's an issue if you don't communicate that. So how old are we? In high school? If you have a problem with your friend, even if it's an associate, a co-worker, communicate that with them, because we're not mind readers. We are not mind readers. If you have an issue, you talk about it. Like, I'm so glad the village that I have, like, and my friends, my villages, they know who they are, and I'm so grateful for them, because we love on each other, we pour into each other, and we communicate with each other. And friends are always going to have disagreement. You know what I mean? And I even have friends that I've gone through it with, and I forgave them or whatever, and I keep it moving, and I don't hold any grudges. You know what I'm saying? So if there's an issue with somebody, you communicate that, so the other party is not going to know that you have an issue with them if you don't communicate it. So that's my take on it. I mean, Cece, you could take it.
Yeah, absolutely. I like what you said about, friends. If you're a friend, a true friend, you're going to have some disagreements, because if you're not having disagreements, right? People might be lying to you, right? They might not be telling you the truth and everything, because you're not going to agree on everything, and that's okay. But it's about how you handle it. It's about how you communicate. And typically, when you are trying to communicate, positive things, good things to help them and to not harm them, right? You want to use, typically, psychology tells us to use those I statements. I feel, however it was, I felt hurt when you said X, Y, and Z, that kind of stuff. And so it's important to always come from a place of love, right? And understanding, having an open mind, and just trying to really hear that person out, to see kind of where they're coming from, and really trying to understand it. And if you don't understand it, it's easy to say, and it's okay to say, like, I really don't understand it, but I hear you, right? I desire to understand it, but I really don't quite get it right now. But just know that I love you in spite of it all, right? Just know that I want us to be friends, right? Yeah, I want what's best for you, that kind of stuff. Because you really got to protect that inner circle. For me, much like, in the Word of God, you have like your outer court, your inner court, and the holiest of holies, right? And in each of those circles, right, there's certain things that are kept. So it's the same with me, the outer court, that external layer, you got your inner court, you're a little bit more kind of to the core, and then you have the inner court, and that's your holiest of holies. That's where your friends are, the true friends are, the ones that are loyal, the ones that's going to ride or die, the ones that's going to be like, no, girl, you messed up. Okay. No, I don't agree. But, if that's your thing, then go with it. But I'm trying to let you know it might not work out so good. And if it doesn't, it's fine. I'm here for you. And you said something really key, Nadine, about forgiving, right? Because forgiveness is truly not for the other person. Forgiveness is really for you, because when you harbor unforgiveness in your heart, you literally, and this is science, y'all, this is medicine, you literally can make yourself ill, right? Blood pressure, you know what I'm saying? Your heart's all whack, blood vessels and stuff, all whatnot, going crazy. You see what I'm saying? The hypertension is real. Okay. Just feeling, anxious about so many things. Anxiety can come on and take on different forms. You can become depressed. This stuff is bad for your physical, emotional, and mental health. So that forgiveness piece is key, and it's huge, and it's required.
Exactly.
This is a requirement. You guys know me. The holy moly here, you know what I'm saying? But it's a requirement of God. It really, really is. And I know it's very smart. God told us that we needed to forgive before he would even forgive us, because he knows how paramount and how important that thing is. Because that unforgiveness, man, it will grow bitterness and roots in your heart that you just will have a difficult time getting over. Bitterness and jealousy and envy, all of this stuff comes from unforgiveness. You know what I'm saying? And you'll end up doing things, hurting people, and be like, well, I didn't mean it, but I think you did, though, because there's unforgiveness. And now all the other things are coming up, and now you're acting on all those other negative things. So it's important for the communications, and you definitely got to decide whether or not if the friendship is even worthwhile. You know what I'm saying? Yes, he was saying earlier about acquaintances, associates, and then, friends that, that enter that out of that holy.
Exactly. But here's the thing, sis. What if there were no disagreement? What if there were no disagreement, no fighting, like everything, we're cool, we buddy, we talk daily, no disagreement at all. Like some people just don't know the core competencies of being a true friend, and maybe they're not used to somebody being a real friend with them, so they don't know how to handle that. You know what I mean? So
That's
exactly, that's just my take on it. I mean, some people just they don't know, they never had that level of friendship that comes with it, so they don't know how to react.
yeah.
That's actually really deep, and me, it sparked my creativity just listening to you. Like, I feel like that's an opportunity there for us to be able to fill in that gap, and maybe in one of our future episodes we can do like a mock skit, the three of us, to exemplify that, to say this is what a true friend would do, this is what a fake friend would do. These are the different scenarios, right? Because I agree with you, Nadine. I feel like because a lot of people are not accustomed or used to that, because so much in society has changed and will continue to change, is not in their norm. The majority of the people that's not in their norm. So they really may not even know how to identify a true friend when it smacks them right in the face, right?
Listen. Everybody knows Cece could attest. Cece and I have been friends since God created Adam and Eve. Okay. We've been friends since 96, 97, honey. And we've never, and of course, we may have had little disagreement, whatever the case is, but we talk about it. We listen. We never fight with each other. And I've had friends that we don't talk for weeks because we know they're busy. We know they have lives, and they know that I'm not ignoring them. And we pick up our conversation like the last conversation we just had. So people just need to understand that people are busy. People have things going on in their lives. It's not revolving around you. So you have to understand if you and somebody, you're talking every day, and then they don't answer the phone or whatever. Okay, maybe that person is busy. What if that person was in an accident? You can't just jump to conclusions. Look at the group of friends that went to Mexico and unalived that girl. Like she thought those girls were her friend. You know what I mean? And that poor girl lost her life because she thought those girls really had her back, pretending they were her friends, laughing in her face and all that. And they planned the whole trip, a trip that the girl paid for. So she planned her own death. And I just hope that her soul is resting in peace, because this is crazy. Anybody know that if I'm a friend to you, I take my friendship very lightly. Yeah, I have a lot of associates. I have a lot of people that, because I was in the military for 24 years. Everybody that I know, communicate with or whatever, we're not like buddy. Everybody have their own set of friends, their own besties. But people, if we come and talk and we say hi or whatever, there's no love lost. I don't hate anybody on my social media platform. We might not talk, we might say hi, we might like a post or whatever, but no, it's all love and passing. I don't hate anyone. But I cannot deal with the fakeness, and I cannot deal with the negative energy. I'm in a different space in my life. I went through my therapy and I'm good. I'm grown. And I mean, I don't have any kids, but some of these women act like worse than my 2-year-old nephew. Like, serious. Like I was telling Yessie earlier, I had to take a look and look down my leg to see if I'm growing something down there than what God created me, because I'm like, what is the issue? I don't have one of those. So take that energy somewhere else. I can't help you.
Right.
I just have to.
Yeah, you got to choose our circles wisely. Yeah, you got to choose your circles wisely, very, very wisely. And you got to watch for those behaviors, right? And when you see those behaviors, run the other way, and then too, you just got to kind of accept what you can't control, because you can't change anybody, right? You can pray and hope and wish, but it's up to them to do the changing, right? And a lot of the world, I believe, has really muddied the parameters, so to speak, of friendship, right? Because the world says, oh, a friend is this and a friend is that. But the Bible truly tells us, right, a friend, right, they love at all times. That's what a friend is. That's what the word of God, in Proverbs, the book of wisdom, tells us that friends, they love at all times. And it says a brother is born for adversity, because, siblings and stuff, they fight. You know what I'm saying? It's up and down, but that friend, they're going to go to the test of time. You know what I'm saying? So real friends, they're going to be there in the good times, not going to be there just when things are not just when they benefit from things and that type of stuff. So you got to really look at that. And then also friends, iron sharpens iron, praise God. You know what I'm saying? Iron sharpens iron. So that friend is going to be there to help sharpen you. So where you're weak in some areas and you need to kind of, step it up, that friend should be there to tell you like, hey sis, hey bro, you kind of messing up over in this area. I've had friends, Nadine's one of those friends, even in my marriage, right? Where I just was being a meanie to my husband. They was like, look, okay, not cool. Straighten it up. Fix it now. It's on you, okay? And I was like, I don't like you very much right now. Don't talk to me. But then they were right. I gotta go straighten it up. I gotta fix it. And they were right. And that bettered my marriage. You know what I'm saying? Because, when I made my vows, they're making those vows to stand by me and my husband, right? And so them calling me on my crap or calling him on his crap, you see what I'm saying? That's them taking that union, that vow, that covenant very, very seriously, because that's what a friend does, a real friend. And we might get mad, but at the end of the day, I'm like, look, they got my best interest at heart. And I gotta respect that. I gotta respect that, Yeah.
Listen, they said, you know what? Hurt people. Maybe some of those people, they're not, healed from their childhood trauma. I mean, people go through things, but I've learned to give people grace. You know what I mean? And that's why I check on my friend, hey, how you doing? Or whatever the case is. How was your day today? Whatever. I mean, I've had people who stopped talking to me cold turkey. I didn't do with them anything, but hey, people come into your life for a season, a reason, and a lifetime, and their time is up. And if you remain in my life for that lifetime, you were meant to be there. If you remain in my life for just a season, you came, you taught me that lesson, and thank you so much for the lesson you taught me. And I take that, I appreciate it, and I will grow with it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like the branches on the tree, like that analogy that they put out, like the tree, the roots, the branches. Which one are you? Are you the tree? Are you the roots, or are you the branch? Which one are you going to sustain? The roots stay longer, right? The village that I have right now, you guys are my root. You guys are my foundation. You guys are there for me. That branch, hey, you're just there for a short period of time. You're going to deteriorate. You're going to fall off one of these days. That leaf, only there for a season. You came there. You came to teach your lesson. You fall off and you're gone away. You gone. People, they're going to understand that. You just like a tree. Whether you decide whether you're going to be the root to that friend, you're going to be that branch, or you're going to be that leaf. Which one are you? Choose one. You get 3 choices.
Right. I want to chime in, and I want to say this, and yes, he will let you speak. 1 Corinthians 15:33, I was just pulling this up, and it says, do not be misled, right? It says, bad company corrupts good character. And so sometimes God is protecting you from certain ones, certain things, certain, places, people, places, and things. All right, the nouns, okay? That 1 Corinthians 15:33, because the people around you can influence your values. They can influence your choices. And if God's trying to remove and keep those bad, away, all that juju away, this is really, really profound scripture, the 1 Corinthians 15:33, and also the Proverbs. Go back to the book of wisdom, right? Go back to Proverbs. It's amazing, right? So Proverbs, again, in 12:26, it says, the righteous choose their friends carefully, but the way of the wicked leads them astray. So the Bible tells us to choose your friends carefully. We got to exercise wisdom in this thing. That's Proverbs 12:26, right? So choose wisely your circle, right? Because they can shape the path in which your life goes, the direction and the choices that you make. And that can affect you and also the people that you're connected to, your family, your husband, your children, your wives, you know what I'm saying? Whomever, right? So take it very, very seriously.
Yes, deep. I agree. Like that, 100%. Absolutely. That's why with me, I have people that I associate with, but when it comes to friends and really truly people that I consider my inner circle, it's far and few. I can count them in the palm of my hand, right? And so I was doing some research and I found that there is a thing called concentric circles, which is when it comes to relationship, people often fall into different layers of this concentric circle based on emotional closeness, trust, and shared life experiences. So this is going to be more of a food for thought for you all. So anybody listening and watching right now, this is where I'm going to challenge you to really think about everyone in your life and where I'm about to share with you these circles and where you feel they would fall. And would you agree or disagree to say, okay, if I have person A, I consider them here, but according to what Yessie is about to say, maybe they're not there, they're over here, So this is going to really help you gauge who you really truly consider a friend, a close friend, an acquaintance, etc. So One, inner circle, the ride or die friend, the chosen family, right? So closeness has that deep emotional bond. The traits that you can consider here for this individual or individuals is you trust them with your life. They know your history, your dreams, fears, and vulnerabilities. They're there for you in crisis and celebration. You feel safe to be 100% you, genuinely you around them. So an example could be your best friend, a life partner, or the friend you'll be able to call at 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning, whatever, anytime. They're going to be there to pick you up. So that's one. Two, close friends. Close friends and inner circle are two different things. So closeness, it means a strong trust and regular communication with your close friends, but slightly less intimate than your inner circle. So some of the traits here are you spend quality time often, you can confide in them, but maybe not about everything, right? They're part of most of the big moments in your life, but not everything. So longtime friends are an example, close coworkers to you who become like family. Three, good friends who are considered social friends. So you enjoy each other's company, but your lives don't fully overlap. Traits, you hang out, celebrate birthdays, attend events together. You share personal stories, but with some boundaries, they might not be your first call to action in a crisis. So some examples is friends from sports, community groups, or even your neighbors. Casual friends is four, friendly acquaintances. So this one is positive relationship with a limited depth. Trait. You see them regularly in certain settings such as a gym, a work, a class, etc. Conversations are friendly but usually very surface level generic, right? You don't talk much outside of that shared environment. Five, acquaintances. Closeless, minimal connection. Traits. You know their name and their face. You exchange polite conversations when you cross paths. Interaction is very limited to shared spaces or chance meetings. Six, professional transactional connections. Closeness means based on a mutual benefit, not a personal bonding. So traits here, relationship exists for work or business, or are you networking, etc. You might get along well, but rarely interact outside of that context. And seven, the outer circle, familiar strangers, recognition without a real relationship. Trace, you've seen each other often, such as a small coffee shop, at the mall, commuting, etc. May nod or smile, but you really don't know each other. So I've shared a lot here. Food for thought. What are your thoughts about that?
Listen, like remember, meet the parents. Are you in that circle of trust? Yes, my village, they're in my circle of trust. You know, like my friends, my true friends, they have my brother's number, my mom's number. Sometimes CC talk to my mom and I don't even know. Oh yeah, I did talk to your mom today. You know, they have my sister's number. If anything happened to me, they'll call my sister, call my family. I still have a best friend from high school. You know, and I do have friends, you know, they're just close with my family. And that's just what it is. Like, and I've met people along the way throughout my military career, you know, that were in the military, some of them not in the military, that I consider them my friend. I have one friend, we you know, I'm not gonna say she worked for DOJ, but this lady took off from work, drove with me from all the way from Seattle, Washington, all the way to where was I going? I was getting stationed in Georgia, and she took off and drove with me. That's a true friend right there.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
on a road trip, we call our trip DOD because I was DOD and she's DOJ. We call it DOD and DOJ.
Yeah.
So sometimes people come into your lives for a reason and you never know. And we became friends over the years. And, you know, she's a part of my village. We may not talk every day, but she's a great friend to me. And I am to her as well. So, you know, just like you said, pick your friends wisely. And some people, they just not used to, they gone through, and I could understand from the core and the bottom of my heart that some people, they go through stuff within their lives, their family, they have friends who screw them over. But you know, if they just get up and leave, I mean, they just don't have that tenacity, they just don't have that willpower. They're just afraid that, hey, this person is going to screw me over again, like somebody else did to me in the past. And I could understand that, but hey, sometimes God protecting you from something else too.
Right. That's true.
And I'm thankful, for all of the friendships or associations or the acquaintances that I've had in my life, because you learn from every person and it helps you to grow. It helps you to evolve. It helps you to learn what a true friend is and what a true friend isn't. And it helps you to be better equipped to choose that true friend, right? To be like, yeah, this person's been here. Okay. This person's been consistent. Okay. This person has shown up. This person listens to me, even if I'm repeating the same thing over and over and over. They're like, girl, you just told me that yesterday. I'm telling you again. Okay. Cause I forgot. Cause I got sometimes I remember, sometimes I don't. Right. So, but they listen, that kind of thing. And so it really helps you to grow as a person, and just to be able to look for some of the signs, the telltale signs, when you can see that people are kind of struggling and you're like, yeah, they're probably not gonna, And then one of the key things that I look for in choosing friends is if they talk about other friends poorly, because if they're talking about other friends poorly, they're going to talk about you poorly. And I had a situation, this person that I did not want to be friends with this person. I really didn't. I really didn't want to be friends. But she befriended me. We became friends. We became close, all of these things. And it was a good reason that I didn't want to be friends with her. It always shows its colors. It rears its ugly head. But I learned so much from the relationship. You know what I'm saying? And from that, it made me better. It made me stronger. But what I did do, and I don't think that she expected this, she was talking about another one of our mutual close friends, right? This friend was closer to me than she was to the other young lady, but she was speaking badly about her. And I don't play that. So I said, stop. I said, no, we're not going to do that. I nipped it in the bud right there with her. I said, stop. You're not going to talk about this other person because she is my friend. And I told her, I said, as a matter of fact, I'm going to tell her what you said. Because I want, hey, I know that completely took her off guard. She was probably like, what? You going to do what? Yes, ma'am. Because we're not going to do that. I'm not going to do that to her. I would never do that to her. And she is my friend. She is my sister. And I'm not going to let you do that to her. And you guys are supposed to be friends. And I did just that. I told the other person. I really did. And she was like, what? And I'm like, they can work it out. But I'm never going, no. Because if you're going to talk about her, you think I'm going to smile and be like, yeah, girl, she this. I'm not going to do that with you. I've done that with you.
So funny. I posted on my page just yesterday about this. I made a post and it said, when you allow the opinions of others to disrupt your peace, you give away the power that belongs to you. Protect your equilibrium because your spirit deserves to remain steady and unshaken. And I said, and remember this, if someone talks about them with you, chances are they'll talk about you with them. Surround yourself with people who speak life, not gossip. Choose peace, choose wisdom, and watch how your light continues to shine. Because by the time they go back to tell them something that they thought you said, it's a whole different story, and that person may not like you. Oh, why are you talking about me? Or this? And get it all misconstrued, all because of a misunderstanding.
And that's why I did what I did. But what it showed, I know the person didn't like it, right? But I'm like, we're not going to do that. But what I know in that moment that it did, she was like, oh, if the roles were reversed and say the other friend was going to be talking about her, she knew that I wasn't going to let that fly. And she knew that I would be trustworthy enough, loyal enough to come back to let her know that I nipped it in the bud. This isn't going to happen. You're not going to do that with me. I'm not going to be the one over here chatting about either of you. You see what I'm saying? So that even made her respect me more. I know in the moment she wasn't cool with it, but over time, like she know I'm not going to be talking about her, and I'm not going to let anybody else talk about her, mutual friends or non-mutual friends. It's just not going to happen on my watch. So it's important to do that and to correct those types of behaviors on the spot and don't let it fly, because just like you said, they talk about you with somebody else, vice versa. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Cece's been in my life and saw all the leaves who came into my life. And she's like, Nadine, you just too nice. Everybody's your friend. You call everybody your friend, but I mean, it's just that, you know what I mean?
No, but and I see her point. I see your point, because you do have a genuine heart, and Nadine, firsthand when it comes to expressing concerns about people. I bring the whole crew together. Remember our experience that we had, where it's like I'm one of those who is like, don't tell me. Let me call so and so we can get them on the phone. You tell them, and if I need to mediate, I'll be happy to mediate. I'll be the kumbaya, because two adults should be able to talk eloquently and clearly with normal tones, without yelling, without screaming, just like how we're talking now.
Exactly.
Right. And so that's my belief, and Nadine can vouch for me because we dealt with that situation last year where I had to bring people together to kumbaya and be able to express in an eloquent, professional way how each person felt to an individual. The individual didn't receive it, but it's okay. At least these people were heard. The right key players that needed to deliver the message and the person that needed to hear the message got it. It wasn't a he say, she said about this, about you. Nope, that's not what we're about. Let's go to the source. You got something to say to the person. Let's come on. Let me call them real quick. Let's schedule this meeting. Talk to that person. Don't tell me. Don't tell Peter. Don't tell Susie. Don't tell Jeff. No.
Don't tell Paul. Don't forget Paul. Don't tell Paul either.
That part. That part. Yes. So I feel you about that. Like, no, we ain't got time for the shenanigans of talking negatively about people.
Because we're too grown for that. Like, people don't understand like how they see you when you were in your 20s. Like, we're grown. Like, people grow. So hey, where are you? Are you still in that 20-year-old space? Are you still in that 15-year-old space? What level are you? When are you going to grow up?
And one thing I would like to share, yes, I like what you said about, calling them up, getting on there and hashing it out. And one thing I just want to caution everyone on is when a person is screaming and yelling and mad, I would challenge you all not to do the same, right? Because a soft answer turns away wrath. And when a person is screaming and yelling, it's because they're angry, but there's another layer down deeper, and it's hurt, right? Mm-hmm. So it's coming out in the anger. It's coming out in the elevated voice. So take a moment and pause when you see someone responding like that. Sit back, zip your lips, and just listen, because they're trying to be heard. They're trying to express themselves, and they're so frustrated because they're thinking you're not getting it, you're not hearing them. And so that's why they're screaming and they're yelling and they're doing all what they're doing, and they're hurting. And so I would challenge you all to just, a soft answer turns away wrath. You be like, you know what? I can see that you're very upset, and I am so sorry. I've done it in real life. Like, you read these proverbs, you're like, well, let me just put this into practice. And I have practiced it, and it works. What I will find someone who's screaming, ah! And then I'll say, wow, I'm really sorry. And I'll keep it very, just level, kind of, you just really low tone. And they'll bring it down. And they'll be like, well, yeah, I was really hurt. They'll bring it down. And you're like, okay, and then you're able to talk. But if you're going to try and match that energy, that's the devil all day. He's like, look at these two fools. He's laughing, ha, 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 right? And he wants you to keep going because nobody's hearing anybody. You're thinking you're right. They're not listening. They're thinking they're right. They're not listening. So exercise compassion. Try to exercise that understanding. I know it's hard when people are yelling and screaming at you and you haven't done anything. But just try to breathe. Let them get it all out. And then, and if you understand, you can say, I understand. But if you don't understand, just be like, just apologize. I am so sorry. Right? Because it seems like you were very hurt. That kind of thing. So I like that you call them up and you get everybody on the line and you hash it out.
Yeah, that's how I am. We're going to figure this out. Because I, like I said, we're too old for this. Like Nadine was saying, what you did back in the day in high school, okay, I get it. We were younger. We didn't know any better. But now we're adults. Like we're in the 30s, 40s, 50s, etc. Let's start acting our age. We know better at this point, or at least we should know better. And if you don't know better, then start doing research. There's so many different books you can read, different motivational videos that you can listen to help you become a better person, because no one is perfect. But what we can do is try to be the best version of ourselves, not only for ourselves, but for our family and the people that we care for and people that come across us, right? We want to make sure that we are being our best representative, especially if this is who God made us.
Exactly. And this just came to my mind, like we talked about earlier, hurt people, but heal people, help people.
That's right. I love that. Yes, I love that. Ladies.
I like that. Heal people, help people.
That just came to my mind a second ago. I'm like, hey.
Go write that down. Go put the write it down.
That's a really nice quote. I love that. But lovelies, we can definitely continue on this conversation at a different episode because we have our special guest who has logged in.
Yay.
And she has been patiently waiting for us for 10 minutes. So I'm excited. So if we're ready, then we can transition over to our special guest. So with over 6 years dominating the modeling scene and 16 years shaping minds as an educator and a coach, our special guest has built a career that commands attention. She claimed first place in the 2023 Vogue Supermodel Competition, lit up a Times Square billboard alongside Sofia Davis for Fashion on the Hudson, and has graced the runways of New York Fashion Week, FTM, Danville, and beyond, representing top designers from North Carolina to New York, Atlanta to Virginia, South Carolina, etc. Her stunning portfolio includes 50-plus magazine features, cover appearances, and international recognition. But beyond the lights and camera, our special guest is passionate about empowering the next generation of talent, teaching runway, posing, brand ambassadorship, and the business of fashion, paying forward the mentorship that once shaped her journey. So without further ado, we're going to welcome our special guest, Zoë Walker. Welcome to Hoy En Día TV.
Hello, everybody. Hi, thank you for having me. That was a very nice introduction. Thank you. Thank you guys for having me. I'm Zoe. I don't think I have to say any more to introduce myself. I think Nancy covered it all.
Yeah, well, I will say that I'm going to ask my $1 million question. This is what I always like start the combo with here is the bio says one thing, but who would you say you are in a nutshell?
As a model or as a person?
Overall, as both.
Helpful. So I also teach. I'm a first grade teacher in addition to modeling. I'm a mom of a 16-year-old boy. I'm compassionate, I'm loyal, and most importantly, I love fashion. I love modeling. I love being able to help serve other people and give them the things that I was given in order to get to my position. I did not get to where I was by myself. I'm still growing. And I love to be able to pour out into other people so that they're able to grow as well, the people that want it, you know? And so that's my biggest, I think, helpful overall in a nutshell is Zoe. The trying to fix things. You know, how can I make things better? The pursuit of excellence. A saying that I also go by is that peace is in your feet. You have the power to walk away from or towards whatever does or does not serve your peace. And that's me. Peace. While, you know, what I want to talk about later is while things happen, you know, that can disrupt your peace, being able to think in that moment, when you're thinking about what to do next, is will this serve my peace? Is this something that I need to move forward with and walk towards, or is it something that I need to walk away from because it will not serve my peace? So, yeah, a little bit of Zoe in a nutshell.
I love that. So what you said fits beautifully with our topic about friendship. So peace, keeping your peace and walking away. And I know that you have a really deep story that you're going to be sharing with us later on within our interview. But before we do get to that deeper section of the show, I want to ask you, you started modeling later in the game. So what motivated you to start only 6 years ago? Like what sparked that interest all of a sudden?
That's a good question. I actually get that question a lot. So funny thing, growing up, I always wanted to be a professional model or a professional singer. And, you know, as we're little girls and young men, we're thinking, oh, I want to be a basketball player. I'm going to go to the NFL. You know, we have these big dreams and goals. And I did not know how to start it. Even once I graduated high school, I remember that I auditioned for America's Next Top Model, and I was a senior in high school. And I was like 2 inches too short. So they had stopped me right at the door. And like, I waited in this long line. I had all of my pictures and everything in order. And at that point, after that, I was like, well, I don't know. Like, what do I do now? They want tall people. I'm 5'7". And so yeah, so I kind of let the dream go a little bit. I looked at it as if it was a dream and that it was not reachable. I had my son. And then I was like, okay, well, now you got to be a mama. You don't have time to be trying to, you got to pay bills. You got to feed your baby. And that's where I was. And then, but I still always love taking pictures. I love having my photo taken. I love posing, every place was the runway, the grocery store, the hallways at my school, and so that was still a passion for me. And as I was posting my regular iPhone pictures on social media, one of my friends on Facebook, she said, well, you take some really good pictures. You should reach out to Damien. She said, you should reach out to Damien from Crush Modeling. And she tagged him. And before I could reach out to him, he sent me a message and said, well, let's do a test shoot. And 6 years ago, I did my first photo shoot with Damien Prout from Crush Modeling. And that was just a trial run. But when I did, I was like, oh, I love this. This is dope. And I think that first photo shoot may have been about 4 or 5 hours, but it didn't feel like it. It still felt like it went by so quick because I enjoyed. And that was before I started wearing makeup. And I think I put like some lipstick on. Yeah, I think I had lipstick and mascara on. That was the extent of my first photo shoot with my natural hair and everything. And I still enjoyed posing and looking at the photos that came from it. And that was the start of it for me. Then I said, well, now I'm in it. And anything that I do, I'm going to go hard. I'm going to put my all into it and make sure that I'm giving my best because I don't believe in investing your time, money, or energy into something that you're not going to give your all and put it there because you want to get the best results. You want to get everything that you can get from it. And the only way, in my opinion, or at least the starter, is to put everything into it. So, yeah. And within a year, the first year, I was actually only modeling for about, I think like 8 months, where I did Vogue modeling the first time. And there was about 40 to 50 adult models. Yes, he was there with me. We were in the competition together. And I placed fourth. Yeah, I placed fourth, and I was excited. They had the top 5 got to go to New York for New York Fashion Week, and I was like, "Oh, look at me! I placed." And I didn't have that much experience there. I was amongst other models that had been doing it for years. People that had done that competition for years. And I remember Tracy Gray, who's an agent. She has a modeling agency. She came backstage with 4 of her business cards. And she had 4 particular models that she wanted to give it to. And I was one of them. And I was like, oh, like everything about that just had me so like feeling like a little kid again and so excited that I was opening the doors of what was my dream at one point in time. And now it's like your dream is a reality. This is a thing. You can actually do this. So I made sure to network. I decided to, get some coaching myself and not just on walking and posing, but what should I do as a model to get started? Having your portfolio, having your comp cards. Networking is so important. I tell models that all the time. And I'm actually, believe it or not, introverted. So, but modeling has helped me to come out of my shell a little bit more. And even whenever I would go to fashion shows, I would have my comp card and my business card, and I would give it to the designers that I wasn't walking for. And I would introduce, hey, I'm Zoe. It's, nice to meet you. I'm not walking for you, but here's my information. I would love to walk for you in the future. I love your work. And I did that one time in Atlanta, and the designer said, well, hold on, I might have something for you. And so she found something for me, and I'm still connected with that designer. She actually styled me for the Vogue competition the second time with this beautiful purple sparkly dress. And I did a couple of photo shoots with her. That started a whole new thing. And yeah, so with that was the start of the modeling, and I did New York Fashion Week, that was my first time going to New York, being part of the winnings from placing fourth. And I connected with Sofia Davis, which, got me back to New York a few more times. And New York now, it went from I've never been here before to, whoa, it's so many people, to wow, hey, we can go over here to go walk around the corner, go to Junior's and get our cheesecake. We knew the places and everything. And my son was there with me through everything. And then one of the fashion shows that I did there for Fashion on the Hudson, the one of the photographers, his work from the fashion show was submitted for billboard in Times Square. And that was my first billboard. And so overall, I have started. The question was asked, how did I start so late? And I'm so talkative. But yeah, so that is how I decided to get started late. I didn't know how to get started. And once I figured out how to get it, I was like, well, we got to go. We got to hit the ground running. And so now I'm still going, and I still want to pour into other models where we've started Powerhouse Workshop, so that we can be able to help other models and actors get their feet on the ground. And I feel like models need that. They need that foundation and simple model etiquette. It's not just a fierce walk or I take great pictures. How are you as a person and a professional?
Oh yeah.
I'm done with my long answer.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I love that. You're very narrative. You're telling us the story. And I actually appreciate that. I love an individual guest who tells me the story and walks me through it, because I'm picturing it as you're sharing this with us. So thank you for that. So feel free to say as much as you want. That's a-okay. And I agree with you. Investment is important,
Mhm.
regardless of what career or profession you are, and especially in the acting and modeling industry. So yes, absolutely. So ladies, if you all don't already know, Zoe is the one that I'm partnering with doing the Powerhouse, as she just mentioned. She is doing the modeling portion and I'm doing the acting portion. So yes, Powerhouse workshops. We will be talking about that later on. I have some other questions, but before I ask mine, I'm going to allow my co-hosts to ask their burning questions, because I'm sure they have some juicy questions they would like to ask.
Yeah, I recognize the name Zoe. Congratulations on all your accomplishments. That's
Thank you.
amazing. So yeah, I think you did answer, like, one of the questions I was gonna ask is, what advice would you give to aspiring models who want to follow in your footsteps? But you were answering a lot of those questions about the etiquette and portfolio stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I do want to piggyback on that. In addition to investing in yourself and getting training and even runway training, even if you have a good runway walk, there's actually particular things that you have to have when the way that your foot is placed, the way your hands are placed, so the way you're posing, how long you're posing. So you can have a fierce walk, but you want to get training in all of that as well. Also, your social media is a virtual portfolio. And so you should always have a physical portfolio as a model, but you can have that virtual portfolio for those people that just happen to go to your page and they may be interested in you. And they're able to see what you've done, what you're capable of, instead of, going and seeing. And there's nothing wrong with having pictures with family and stuff, but you should have a separate page just for your modeling, so it can be that virtual portfolio, and then you can have family and all of your fun stuff and your friends on a personal page. Yeah, those are the biggest things. And networking, that is, I said that the first time, but definitely networking and just stepping out there and being okay with hearing no, but not just accepting that no. So being okay with, if you not being afraid, because a lot of people are afraid because they don't want to hear no. So don't be afraid to step out there and speak to whomever it is, a- audition for that show, whatever it is, step out there. And if you hear a no, okay, what can I do to be better? Let me go ahead and do better and let me try again. Maybe you can talk to that person. There's been times that I go and I talk to people, but what is it that, I could have done to be better on this part. Even when I placed fourth in the competition, what can I do to do better? And I did it again and I placed first. So yeah, just communicating with people, communicating and networking with people. I think that's all great.
Awesome.
That's
And I have
awesome.
one.
Yeah, and congratulations. We've heard a lot about, this team up dynamic duo coming up for the powerhouse, for the modeling, for the acting. I'm so excited. It's going to be totally amazing, right? What you guys are doing. I wanted to go back to the top model, right? Because you're in line, you're standing there for hours, you got all these beautiful people around you. So what was that like, just being in the line? Were you talking to the people like in front of you, behind you? Did the girls seem kind of catty? Because we've seen America's Top Model and it can be kind of vicious, right? With some of the girls. So what was it like just kind of standing in the line during that time?
It actually wasn't too bad. They definitely weren't catty. And that was also, I was still a senior in high school, so that was still very much so introverted Zoe. And so I think like I may have talked to a couple of people, but I'm very observant. And so I was more so looking around like, okay, we got this competition. Everybody was tall. So that's one thing I would say. It seemed like everybody, even without heels on, were so tall. And it was pretty intense at first. And at that time, America's Next Top Model was like a very popular show. And everyone wanted to be a part of it. And yeah, that was but they had a height thing like right at the door before you go to actually see the pre-judges. And then you had the judges. But if you got in front of that height thing and you were not the height requirement, then they said you're not tall enough. And that was what it. So we stood in there for hours, and it was hot. But I wouldn't take it away because I think that's when I started to realize that I do want to do this. I started to have a hint of it, and other than that was the second time outside of as a little girl, and it being a dream.
So now that you've been on the runway, you've won the competitions, did you find some of the cattiness, pettiness, jealousy? Now you're winning these things. What was it like that? Behind stage, the stuff that we don't see on the runway. Because when you guys come out on the runway, we see the beauty, the glam, the glitz, and all of that. So what is it like behind stage, and even working with the designers? Because I went to a modeling thing. It was fun. I was totally out of my element, but it was fun. And just seeing some of the designers that were there, some of them were very commanding in a nice way. I'll put that. Very commanding, like, do this and do that. But Nadine can share with you, the young lady that was there. So what is it like behind stage?
So you do have some designers, especially in New York, because they're very direct. And even Sofia Davis, while she is very sweet, she knows exactly what she wants. And so with Sofia, she's like, I don't like your hair like that. Or, she may, Sofia is very personal with her garments. So if it's a dress or whatever, she's fluffing up each model individually and making sure that they are perfect from head to toe. I have seen a lot of cattiness between models, a lot. And as I was saying earlier, the pieces in my feet. So I have not personally been involved in any of the cattiness and stuff, but I've seen it's crazy. It's like a reality show sometimes, with the drama that models can have. But at the end of the day, the main focus, I'm like, what's your end game? What are we here for? Okay, we're here for a fashion show. We're here for a photo shoot. We're here for an audition. And I have also seen some producers that have been not consistent. I'll say that, where they set a standard, or they say what their standard is from the beginning, and further and further into the show or through auditions, you notice that the same standard is not for everyone. I've been a part of fashion shows where we've had to practice till like 2 a.m. A lot of times a fashion show may start at like 6, 7, and the models have to be there at like like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning because you're getting hair and you're getting makeup. and you're doing last minute fittings with the designer. And so backstage can definitely get chaotic. I mean, you guys have no idea. Like if you're on the outside in the audience of a fashion show and oh, beautiful dress, you're taking pictures, they got the music, the model is fierce, but then the model gets off the stage and then like they're throwing their heels off quick because their feet hurt and hand me my fan because it's hot. Now they're trying to block their face because they're sweating, but you don't want to wipe it because you don't want to mess up your makeup. Your hair is starting to get messed up. So yeah, it could be, especially when you have a lot of designers that you're walking for. And when I did fashion on the Hudson, there was 8 designers and I was walking for 6 of them. And actually the other 2 wanted me. And Sophia said, nope, she already got enough. She said she can't walk for everybody. You should have asked sooner. And so even those 6 designers though, it was so quick because sometimes you can have a designer back to back. And so now you have to figure out, okay, this designer has to let me go at the beginning of this set, and I might not be able to do the flood because I got to go ahead and get changed for the next designer. And so you got to consider that. You got to make sure your clothes are out, and that I like to make sure that I have the order of this. Once I know the order of the show, then I go ahead and make sure my outfits are in order or my accessories, my shoes, whatever it is, because once the show gets rolling, nobody's waiting for you. You know, that's one thing you don't want on the runway is for there to be a gap on the runway. You want to keep the flow going.
Right. Yeah. And so I'm glad you shared that because I was Cece, you read my mind about that, the whole cattiness. And so I was just going to talk about the whole friendship piece in light of what we were discussing earlier before you joined our segment here. But I know recently you and your son experienced something sad and traumatic that really affected you. And I can tell based on just the video that you shared on social media. So let's pivot over to that. And if you can share some more details about that, because this is an awareness that we need to not only bring on here, but remind others that this still exists. And we have to be able to identify and what to do if you encounter or find yourself in a situation like this.
Yes, absolutely. So Julian, my 16-year-old son, he was riding on the trail, the public trail in Durham, and with his guitar on his back. He went off of the trail to go in a neighborhood that was pretty much right beside our neighborhood. It was a 3-minute drive, so you could throw a rock over there. And he's just riding in the cul-de-sac and using the hill. He's being a kid. And this white lady follows him, starts following him in her car. And then eventually she pulls up beside him and she says, can I help you find something? And my son said, no, I'm good. And then she just stayed there. She didn't leave. And to where he felt uncomfortable. And so he just started to ride off on his bike. And then she started to tell him, she's following him, almost like she is ushering him out of the neighborhood, out of the public neighborhood. And then that's when my son called me. He let me know that he felt uncomfortable. And he said that this white lady is following me in her car. And so I immediately grabbed my keys and got in the car and looked at his location and stuff. And I told him, I said, well, where exactly are you? Like as far as his surroundings. And he said that he was still like by the trail, so he couldn't see the name of his street. So I told him just move up more closer to the shopping center area and just move off to the side and wait for me. And he said, Mom, she backed up in the driveway and now she's recording me. And so she's sitting there recording my son, who's just sitting on the side of the road on his bike with his guitar on his back, wearing a shirt that says TMLA mentoring. In the back says, I make smart choices because I have a mentor. And she was so busy focused on Julian and recording him that she didn't notice that I had pulled up right in front of her and blocked her in that driveway. And I got up now. I was not as mad as I was. I already know that I'm not about to approach it on any type of physical type of stuff. You know, you still wrong and you're going to hear me. But I'm not going to be physical because that's the last thing my son needs to see is I called mama for help and now she out in handcuffs. And, or anything. Like, we don't want anything negative outside of what already happened. We don't want it to end in a negative way. And so when I walked up to her and she rolled down her window, and I said, yeah, I said, that's my son. Why are you following and recording my 16-year-old black son? And she said, well, he was in the neighborhood. I said, was he bothering anybody in this public neighborhood? Well, was he bothering anybody? And she said, well, no, he wasn't. And at that point, I just went off on her. I fussed her out. I backed away from the car because I was very upset. And again, I did not need to end up in jail. I've never ever experienced that before. As a first grade teacher, to start off the school year, we had a PD where it was about racism and, just how to deal with it with the students, with our elementary school students, and how to talk with them, especially not to assume that everything is racist. And sometimes it's just what they observe and how they view things. And we got in small groups, and they wanted the African American race to speak first in the group if they chose. And one of the questions was, have you experienced anything with, racial profiling? And I didn't have much to say. I hadn't experienced that. I say, the Black Lives Matter, I was protesting, and, I had my son with me. And I'm very aware and I'm woke. But I never experienced that personally until Monday through my 16-year-old son. And for my 16-year-old to have to experience that, um, it hurts me, it upsets me, it pisses me off so much. She tried to leave after I had blocked her in the driveway. She tried to find a little corner, and I got in my car and moved up. And you're not going anywhere because you're wrong. And she got her phone, and I said, I don't know who you called, but we already called the police because you're wrong. So the way it ended, so I ended up getting my son out of there. I had my boyfriend was there as well. So he ended up staying with the bike because I didn't want my son to ride back with it. And he was going to wait for the police. And then I got about halfway home, and I was like, I want to talk to the police myself. And so I drove back. And of course, it wasn't that far. And about 5 minutes later, the police came. But the lady was gone, of course. And my boyfriend was talking to a guy who happened to come up to us while I was, outside fussing at her. And he's like, is everything okay? And I'm thinking like, it's her husband or something. I'm like, kind of brushing him off because I'm mad. I'm the angry mama right now. I don't want to hear anything. And so when I came back and I saw that my boyfriend was talking to this guy, I'm like, what are you doing talking to this man? And come to find out, this man witnessed this lady telling my son. He was walking his dog. And so that's why he came to check on us, because he saw her following him. And I'm like, I wish I had known that. I wouldn't have been such a butthole. I would have said, can you stay so you could talk to the police? And I didn't say anything mean to him. I wasn't, but I just wasn't I didn't want to talk to him. I wasn't very friendly either. And so yeah, the police came, and she lives on the street that she was telling Julian on. And from the looks of her car, she also had 2 children in the back seat, by the way. And that was one of the things I said. I said, you are teaching these children that it's okay. And that is the problem. It's generational. All of the deep slavery and, where, we had restrictions as for the color of our skin. And it's not that anymore, but because things like this happen, and you do it in front of your children, you teach your children that, your children hear you talk like that, then they do it. Then they teach their kids. And it keeps going. So it's not as bad. But to me, it's still horrible. It doesn't matter how bad it is.
Right.
That is so wrong. And anyone that knows Julian knows that he is sweet. He's sweet. He's well-mannered. I mean, he's also introverted. He plays the guitar, self-taught. He does good in school, well in school. He's into mentoring. He's a junior in high school, already trying to figure out what college he's going to go to. He loves to travel. Like, Julian has never bothered anyone. He's never done anything wrong. And it pisses me off that he's looked at as a threat, or like there's, and I can't even say it's a threat because of the fact that she had those children in the car. Because if she thought he was a threat, she wouldn't have been following him. And so it's just like riding your bike in a public neighborhood is not a crime. It's pretty much our neighborhood. It's not a crime. Riding with your guitar is not a crime. What is the crime? Is her harassment.
Right.
Completely unacceptable. And that is why I decided, and I normally use my social media, as I told you guys earlier, for my modeling. I've never posted anything outside of that, maybe a picture of Julian here or there, but to make a whole video, and I've been plastering her face all on social media because I want justice. At this point, I want her to be fired from her job at a school, at Excelsior Classical Academy in Durham, as an occupational therapist. And she's around children. And this is how she treated my child. And all I keep thinking about, those kids in her back seat. What if I got in my car and your kids were just riding in the neighborhood, in their neighborhood, by themselves, minding their business? You know, Julian goes on the trail almost every day. You know, he just thinking it's a regular day. What if your kids are doing it and I just got in my car and started following them and recording them? How would that make you feel? How would your kids feel? And people don't think about that. And instead of, if you felt like he was doing something wrong, instead of calling the police, you decided to be the police, or try to. And so, yeah, the police said that they would talk to her. It was two officers. They were both white. One was older, one was younger, male. And the older officer said, you know, I've been doing this for 15 years and I've never seen anything like this before. And he said, it's absolutely wrong. It's unacceptable. You know, they said that they would go and talk to her. Excuse me. They said that they would go and talk to her. And I gave them her license plate number, which I have recorded that. But at the moment, I was like, okay, you know, they agree with me. They're going to talk. And then afterwards, I still was not satisfied because, well, when are you going to get back to me? And then I'm like, I almost want to be like, can I go with you to talk to her? So now I am looking at tomorrow's what I'm going to go tomorrow to file harassment and a temporary restraining order. I want to hit her wherever I can hit her without putting my hands on her.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Wild.
Right.
I'm
sorry that your son went through this. Like, that's devastating. It's just listening to your story and being a parent. That's heartbreaking. So first off, I want to say thank you for sharing this. And she doesn't realize, but there's so many ways that this could go, right? Because as I'm listening to you and just knowing what I know with regards to just legalities and safety, following a minor, she can actually be considered a predator. She can be considered just so many things. There's stalking and harassment, invasion of privacy that she's done, sexual exploitation of a minor because she was recording him, also loitering and trespassing. So there's just so many things that she could be hit with, and she just realize that. And so for the audience and listeners, just be mindful of that as well. And for those who may not know what racial profiling is the practice of targeting, suspecting, or treating someone differently because of their race, ethnicity, skin color, or national origin, rather than an individual behavior or evidence. In this example that Zoe shared, you know, with her glitz and glamour and success, this still happens. Everyday life still happens. And I'm glad she brought this up. We started it with her success, but now this is the reality. Life happens, and this can happen to anyone. So Zoe, thank you for sharing that. Nadine or Cece, what follow-up questions do you have for Zoe about that?
Yeah. So my thing is I have so many thoughts going through my head. Like, you know, how is she, you know, treating her Black kids in her class?
Yeah. So funny thing is that they actually, because, you know, I've been doing some research and stuff and found somebody that works with her where apparently she's been getting complaints from other coworkers because she was name calling students. Now, I don't know what names, but it wasn't their government name that their mama gave them.
Wow.
And she's still working there. And apparently the whole school has had complaints. And so I'm on that too. I didn't find the director's name today, so I will be sending it. Actually, I think I'm just gonna go to the school and find out the hours. But I want to
Oh,
look at the employee handbook first because I want to make sure I have my facts and figure out, is there a way that we can get her out the door based on what she did? You know, is there anything? I don't know. I'm looking. I've been researching and I'm finding out new information every day. I'm
Zoe,
sorry.
there's so many people on TikTok that does this for fun. Like,
My
and I'm
friend
not
told me.
saying and I'm not saying this in a fun way, that they do find Karens out there that racial profile, and they will find out everything about them, everything about their job, where they work, and get these people out of working in the community because they don't belong
Mhm,
there. And
mhm.
like you said, it's a cycle, it's a generational thing. Like, what are you teaching your kids? Like,
Right.
Cece and I have a mutual friend in California a few months ago that experienced the same exact thing. This lady followed this man into his complex, and then it was a gated community. She couldn't get out. And then when he started
He was a
recording
pastor,
her,
by the way.
and when
He was a
he started
pastor.
recording her, he flipped it. He flipped it on her. And now she's getting all scared, calling the police. The police like, so where are you? She couldn't even give the address because you are where you do not belong.
She was in,
You're telling the
yeah,
police a
she was
wrong
in his
address.
community.
It's
Mhm.
it's
She was
crazy.
in
I'm
his
so
community.
sorry, Zoe, that you went through that.
Mhm.
I'm gonna find a contact on TikTok for one of those people that does this for a living, and then you could definitely connect with them yourself and share your story, and they
Yeah.
will find this woman, because we are in 2025. What are we really
Mhm.
doing? And it's so unfortunate. Like, a lot of kids, young black kids, I'm gonna say it, young black kids, black men, black children get unalive for stupidity like this, and it needs to stop.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I
And
wonder when
that's
you were sharing your story. I wonder when you were sharing your story as you was telling it. Being like, how old do you think her children were that were in the back seat? What do you think their ages were?
they look like they were probably early middle school or late elementary school. Definitely not high school.
When you began, okay, when you began to talk, I wondered if she had her children in training to show, you know what I'm saying? I wonder if she was like
Mhm,
actively teaching them. Like, I just wonder. And she knew, like you said, that your son wasn't a threat. So she was probably like, this is someone safe, so I can kind of teach my kids how we, you know what I'm
mhm.
saying? I'm just, because everything is taught. Everything is
Right.
taught. You know what I'm saying?
What's
Each one teach one. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that was just like, oh, we're gonna, this is a prime opportunity. I've been waiting for this moment in time. And here's this young
Mhm.
kid. He's no threat to me. He has a guitar on his back, for crying out loud. He has on a really positive shirt. I got my kids in the back. Okay, now it's time to teach them. You just never know.
Mhm.
And that's what
Mhm.
kind of just popped into my mind, right? Maybe she was training her children because she is a racist.
Yeah.
Now let me flip it a little bit, y'all. Because I know, we say the woke culture. I'm not a part of the woke culture. I don't think that the woke culture is very woke at all. I'll just be honest with that, because some of the things that we think and some of the things that we see, it just don't line up. So
Yeah.
typically, right, in these types of situations, right, things like this happen. This is the world that we live in, and we do have to be that voice to speak up and to speak out to change these things. So I want to ask you this question, Zoe, because I know sometimes, well, not sometimes, as a mom, we're going to come out that bear. You don't mess with our babies, you know what I'm saying? So it's going to
Mhm.
come out. Do you believe, or do you feel, or do you think, right, that it is essentially necessary to go so full force after this woman to try to get her fired from her job? And if so, yes, tell me why. And if no, tell us why.
Um, the angry mom in me says yes. And why? Because she harassed my son. And as I said earlier, I want to attack her in any way that I can and make sure that she feels me, because my son felt very uncomfortable. He felt unsafe. He hasn't been on the trail since then. And because it's something that I could do and what I want to do, I can't do. So that's yeah. Now, probably if I think about, is it the best idea? It may not be the best idea. It also wasn't the best idea for her to harass my son. And so for me, it's the matter of something to make me feel better, like some sort of justice is being served. If that makes sense.
It does. And I see your point, because also you're helping another parent. You don't want this to continue to happen. Today or yesterday or Monday, it was your son, but tomorrow can be somebody else's son. And heaven forbid, it might be worse, right? We don't know, especially if you're sharing that she's calling students names, and we just don't know the extent of this individual, or what they may be influenced by within behind closed doors that we're not even aware of, right?
Right.
And so keeping that in mind, I do want to share what to do if a stranger follows and records a minor, because this is actually considered predatory behavior. So parents, please listen. And even whoever's listening, if you have a loved one that you care about that, may encounter, heaven forbid, no, but just being aware and being mindful, recognizing the warning signs. A person may be engaging in predatory behavior if they follow you or your child without a clear reason, record or take pictures without permission, try to approach you in a secluded area, ask for personal information or offer gifts, make comments about your body or appearance, and linger near schools, parks, or places where minors gather. In this example, this individual lingered backed up into a driveway that I'm sure that was probably not their home. You're just backing up into a random driveway. That's very suspicious. 2, respond immediately. If a minor notices that they're being followed or recorded, make sure that they get to safety. So go to a public area, well-lit area. If there's other people, please go by that area, whether it be a store, a restaurant, police station, school office, library, etc. Find a safe adult. So in this example, Zoe's son called Zoe on the phone. She can hear her son, make sure that he was safe and he was in an open area where people can see him. Do not engage. So avoid confronting the person directly, especially if you're alone. Call the police, call 911 or a local emergency number if you feel unsafe or in danger. Also, 3, record and document. Parents and guardians or bystanders should take note of the details. Luckily, there was an eyewitness testimony that Zoe was able to encounter, that was able to see everything that took place, which is great. They were walking their dog. Also, preserve any evidence. So if you took any videos or pictures, especially because we always have our smartphones right attached to our hip, use that as a tool to your advantage to start recording back, saying this individual is following me. This individual is making me feel uncomfortable. And have that as eyewitness accounts as well to use in your favor. Report the incidents. Go to the police. Give all collective details and evidence to your school or venue of security, child protective services. In this example, this individual does have children, so she needs to tread very carefully, because CPS can also eventually become involved depending on how extreme this case can get. Also, teach minors preventative safety skills. So teaching them how to stay in groups, trust your instincts, don't share personal information. Code word, which I know we've talked about at Hoy En Día in past episodes, having that code word with your child is key. If that person that's going to pick them up or what have you doesn't know the code word, they have no business associated with them at all. Know the escape routes also, and understanding the legal side, right? So there's harassment and stalking charges that can be considered here: invasion of privacy, sexual exploitation, especially because she was recording a minor, and loitering in child-centered areas. So I just wanted to share that food for thought.
Yeah. So
I think something else is paramount to me, because I think something else is paramount too, because your child now is afraid to go back on the trails. So that's post-traumatic stress. You see what I'm saying? So even legal, legalities and stuff, and I'm not an attorney, but I would assume that that's something you can, sue, because I don't know. I'm just saying it may be something to look into, because once you begin to hit people in their pocketbooks, it begins to change things quite a bit. You see what I'm saying? And this will teach this lady that the next time you won't go around racially profiling a child. You know what I'm saying? And that was scary, because when you were telling your story, I'm like, what is she about to tell us? Because I was thinking like this lady's trying to kidnap your son or something like that. Right. But now this has scarred him. And I would love to hear. I mean, if we have time, but like now, how you have, I know you've had the conversations with your child, and just to kind of see how he's feeling and what he's thinking, and explaining our world, America, right, to a young Black man, who's going to grow up into this young adult. And just, it's sad that we have to, as people of color, teach our children things just to survive on a day-to-day, walking to school, on a trail, just out at a public event. The rules are different for us. So have you had that? I'm sure you have had the conversation. What did that kind of look like for you?
So I've always been very open with Julian, within reason, based on wherever his age was, because I never wanted him to. I don't want him to have any surprises. So even with the Black Lives Matter movement, as I told y'all, he was protesting with me. I mean, I show him different videos and make sure to educate him on the history of racism and different people that have experienced racism and how it went down, what happened after the fact. And not just protesting for George Floyd and all of the our Black lives during that time, but telling him the stories about it. Like this boy right here, he was only 15. He had a hood and some Skittles in his pocket, and he was looked at this and making sure that like these are real people. And so when it happened, at first I hugged him, and he doesn't like hugging me because he's 16, but he hugged me back, and and we hugged for a while, and I asked him how did he feel, how did that make you feel? And he said, well, I wasn't afraid or anything because, I wasn't afraid of her because she had the kids in there and, I didn't think she was going to hurt me. He said, but I was just wondering, why is she doing this to me? He said that he had seen it on TV and on shows, but he never thought that something like that would happen to him in the city that he lives in, right around the corner from where he lays his head at night.
Mhm.
And so he said, he felt better. He's glad that he has the support. I make sure to surround him with, he has a super strong village, just from my family and friends, but also from his mentors. They have a strong community as well. And so I told him after that, call your dad, called his grandfather, and I had him call his mentor. And he has weekly therapy, and that's on Friday. So I said, make sure you talk to your therapist about that as well. But I make sure to always see, like, not just tell you, oh, you could have done this better. And I also told him, you did a good job. You did a good job by calling me. You did a good job by not saying anything else to her. And I told him for things to do better is, and I know he was in the moment, but as soon as you felt uncomfortable, you should have started recording. The minute she stayed there after you told her that you weren't looking for anything, you didn't need help, and she just stayed there, and you started to feel uncomfortable and you felt like you had to call me, you should have been recording too. And, but again, we've never been in that situation before. And we always talk about often how we would handle situations. And we've never been in it before. And then it just happens. And then everything that you said you were going to do, or maybe not everything, but some of those things, you're not going to do it because you're in the moment. And so, I just make sure to keep on educating him, keep teaching him this is the stuff that you do. And I also let him know, unfortunately, son, stuff like this is gonna keep on happening. And that's why I gotta bring awareness to it. Even more awareness to it, to this particular situation, because it's been a thing for the longest. But I have to make sure that he knows, because one day he's gonna be a big grown man and mama not gonna be there to just ride around the corner. And this was a white lady with two kids in the back who was afraid. She, by the time, I was talking to her, her hand was shaking and stuff. And I don't care about you shaking now. But what if it was a guy that had no fear? Or one of those ladies who like to be all up in people's face and hitting them and stuff. And we've seen video recordings of that. What if it was that type of situation? What if he tried to ride away and she tried to hit him with her car? Mm-hmm. And so I also think about the kids that do not have that community. I think about, what if that was a brown boy who called their mama, or couldn't even call the mama, didn't have anybody to call, or they called that person, they didn't answer the phone, or they answer the phone but they're not coming. Just come on home. And I think about the kids where they don't have that strong community. Julian is fine now because he has that community, because I talk to him, because I make sure that he's aware. And I don't baby him. I still, within whatever your age is, which right now is 16. So I'm able to tell him a little bit more, but there's still a restriction because he's not an adult yet. But I make sure you know as much as you can, because you have to be prepared. And I think that for Julian, it's going to make him stronger. I think it's gonna it's an eye opener. It's like, dang, this stuff really can happen. It happened to me. He's gonna have this story to tell for the rest of his life. Um, and I hate it for the kids that experience that, and they are traumatized for life, and they don't have somebody to talk to. Um, and then they have fear of going wherever that place may be. So yeah.
So is it unorthodox to share her name? I know you had said where she had worked, but
Baby, she all on social media with her first and last name, where she works. The only thing I didn't put was her social, her license plate and her address, but I do have that information as well.
got you.
Yeah, for those who want that information, go on Zoe's page and find that. Just for privacy reasons here, we won't share it today.
Oh yeah.
Just nobody can try to flag us, right? But for those who want more information about that, Zoe does have a video and has all of those details. So go on Zoë Walker's page.
Yeah, and I am Zoë Walker on Facebook, and right under my name is House of Zoë Walker, which is my Instagram. So I have videos posted on both.
I'm
Beautiful.
so sorry you had to go through that. Like, that's just sad in this day and age. Lord Jesus, we are in 2025. I mean, come on.
Right.
This is crazy. When is it gonna end? When is it gonna stop? You know, and
That's
it doesn't matter if it whether it was the other way around and it was a Black person doing it to another person. That we don't. That's not acceptable. It doesn't matter who it is. You know,
I agree. Absolutely. And so with that in mind, we're going to actually pivot over to our last minute words. And again, thank you for sharing that deep story. And I'm glad to know that your son is in a better place. I agree with you, because he has a strong support system, because he has you as a super mom, right? And a strong village around him. This is helping him see the light at the end of the tunnel, but there are kids out there who do not have that. And so we definitely got to send our thoughts and prayers to those individuals that need that extra support that don't have it. So again, thank you for sharing that. And with the last minute words, this is an opportunity for you to remind people how they can find you, follow you, what's next. If you have a quote, anything you want to share with regards to last minute words, this is a spotlight. So Zoe, you did start. So let's go ahead and start you off. Nadine, you can go second. Cece will go third, and I'll close out.
All righty. So you guys, I am Zoë Walker. And my Instagram is House of Zoë Walker. Zoe is spelled Zoe. And my Facebook is Zoë Walker. And what's coming next? I have fashion shows. We have Powerhouse that we are, you guys, hey, sign up. You guys don't want to miss it. If you're interested in acting and modeling even a little bit, go ahead and invest in yourself and get signed up for Powerhouse. That is on Yessie's page as far as how to get enrolled there. Yes, fashion shows, and I'm teaching a lot right now. And I also started a unicorn tutoring, and so I officially have my LLC. And yeah, we are looking at pouring out more, but also not just in everyone, but in myself more. So you guys will see me still doing my photo shoots and my fashion shows, but in addition to that, coaching as well. And thank y'all for having me.
That's awesome, Zoe. Thank you for sharing all that information. So, as everybody know, my name is Nadine Barton, retired Navy veteran, author, entrepreneur. You can find me on Facebook as my name, and then you can find me also on Instagram, NadiaB_1202. And also on two of my web pages, www.cabzenzah.com, or my name, NadineBarton.com, where you could see all of my books are on Amazon. And I also like to share that, despite all the stuff that we talked about earlier with friendship and all these other things, they say life is 10% of what happened to you and 90% of how you react. Just like Zoe said, you could have reacted in a different way, and thank God you gave that lady some grace and it didn't go the way that some people don't want it to go. So kudos to you on that as well. And for me, and I said my little piece there, but my new saying that I said earlier, hurt people, and heal people will help people. So remember that. Hallelujah. And on over to you, Cece.
I love it. Hallelujah. I love it. I love it. Yes. Thank you, Zoe, for being on. Thank you for shedding light and being so brave. And your little one too, 16-year-old Julian. Thank you for being so brave and protecting your child, right? And protecting others. By you using your voice, you're protecting others. And this young lady who did what she did, you just no. No, you can't do that. You can't do that. And we're speaking out. She's a mother, so she knows how that goes. You want to protect your children. But hey, I'm Sandra, the Actions with Inspire for Purpose and Girls with Gigs. And so you can find me at any one of those titles, girlswithgigs.com or inspireforpurpose.com. Also our nonprofit Extended Hands Worldwide Ministry.com. I always like to say, remember, nothing positive ever came from negative thinking. So always keep a positive mindset about all things, right? And as I always love to say, love and light and inspire for purpose.
Thank you. Yes. Wow. Another amazing show. We always have some deep, thought-provoking, food for thought conversations. And it's just praise God for just using us as vessels to funnel all this information and be able to positively shed the light to those who want and are open to hearing it, right? So thank you to the viewers and listeners of Hoy En Día TV. Zoe, thank you for being our special guest, for sharing your story about how you became a model, and also behind closed doors, what really happens is, right? Because you have all this success, life still happens to you. And it happened the other day. And I want to thank you for being transparent and sharing that. And again, I echo Cece's words. You're using your voice to help others in need. And we got to put a stop to this. This has to stop. So, I mean, it's one thing to read about it, see it, on TV, but when you actually experience it, that's very different. It hits very, very differently. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and pivot over to the sponsors. So shout out to the sponsors, Nadine Barton and CC, the Actionist. Also, we have Nadine's Travel Oasis, Collective Wear, Divine Beauty and Accessories. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Dream, explore, discover with Nadine's Travel Oasis. Your next adventure is just a booking away. From breathtaking beaches to vibrant cityscapes, we handle the details so you can make the memories. Luxury, leisure, or last-minute getaways, we've got you covered. Book today and let Nadine's Travel Oasis take you places.
Sponsored by Collective Wear. Available at www.yessierodriguez.com/shop and myrod-enterprise.com/shop.
Sponsored by Divine Beauty and Accessories. Watch Hoy En Día TV, Thursday, 7:30 p.m.
From the moment that I put this Cab Zenza on my skin, it feels most amazing. As you can see, it has your skin glistening, it's moisturizing, and it's very, 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 very yummy. You too should get Cab Zenza.
Luxurious. Are you ready to slay the scene and the runway? Calling all aspiring actors and models, this is your moment to shine. Join our Powerhouse Acting and Modeling Beginners Workshop starting September 8th at 7 p.m. and unlock the confidence, skills, and presence you need to dominate the stage, runway, and the camera. Learn from industry pros, hands-on modeling and acting experience. Build your portfolio to craft, perfect for beginners. Limited spots available. Registration is now open. Sign up at yessierodriguez.com/powerhouse-workshop. We look forward to seeing you there.
All right. And for those who want to be sponsors on Hoy En Día TV, or you just want to be a guest because you have something to say, yes, we welcome you with open arms. The email is scrolling at the bottom of this view, hoyendiatv@gmail.com. Reach out to us. We welcome you with open arms. But I will say this, we are starting to get booked up again. We're actually booking out until November. So just sharing that as a heads up that we'll get you on. It's just a little later in the time, because that's what Hoy En Día is. We are here for the people, by the people, to motivate, inspire, enlighten, educate, and entertain you, the viewer and listener, with each and every episode. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. For those who want to find me, you go ahead on Google, Safari, Internet Explorer, just type in Yessie Rodriguez and it'll pull me up, my social media, websites, etc. And also closing words. The sky is never the limit because the galaxies are endless. So thank you all for tuning into Hoy En Día TV. Until next time.